All right, this is On the Ones with Rich Noir. In a different setting today, as you can see, I'm here with a special guest, somebody who we've linked a few times already. Always showing love when we're doing the clothing shit.
Yes.
Somebody who we've reached out to. I had my interview with him on one of his platforms.
Yes.
So now we're back here to get his story. Friday, what's up, my nigga?
I'm good, man. How you doing, brother?
Living.
Yes.
So, I watched a few interviews that you did so far.
Okay.
I don't want to go too much into things people have already discussed,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, there's people who don't know your complete story yet, so we want to get into some of this shit.
Okay.
So to get into a little bit of your backstory, I know you're a Toronto-based podcast, but you're not originally from Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I'm from Montreal originally.
Okay, so your story starts in Montreal from when to when?
Well, but not from the year. I'm not gonna give people the year I was born, but once upon a time, I grew up in Montreal. You know what I'm saying? All my teenage life, all the way into my 20s, basically, like my young 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved over to Toronto. I was like starting to get stagnant over there. And Montreal, like I've said before, has like a low ceiling when it comes to success. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only get so far.
Mm-hmm.
So Toronto's like the center of the universe when it comes to this music scene right now. When it comes to Canada, it's always been that way, right? So I made my way down to 401 back in 1997.
And when you initially left, was it to pursue a music career? Was that the reason you left at the beginning?
I thought I was gonna be P. Diddy, yo.
You said you're gonna come up to the big city, meet people,
start a record label. That's like 2001. We started a record label called AWOL Records, A Way of Life.
Okay.
And we were gonna be fashioning our shit after like Master P and Cash Money and all those guys who were just recently getting like major label deals rather than just the average record deal. You know what I'm saying? So I came out here. I went to Harris Institute of the Art.
So you went to school for music?
Yeah. I was like, let me move down here and really take this music shit serious, but learn about the business at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I came down here and I went to school.
Now being somebody who had a music dream to come to Toronto and blow up, was your family supportive of you doing that, or did they think you're fucking crazy when you moved over?
You know, my mom just wanted me to do something.
Something
right?
positive.
I had like the same, like, you know, or the regular black man upbringing, you know, usually, you know, single parent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an only child, so it was just me and my mom, right?
Yeah.
So I can't lie and say I wasn't able to get away with a lot more shit than a lot of people were, right?
Yeah.
But rather than just me being stagnant in the crib, because that's what was going on before I left to come to Toronto. I was just in the crib. I was like fucking selling weed out my fucking bedroom window and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And she was just like, listen, if you're gonna do something, like go back to school or get a job, do one or the other, but like you can't just do nothing, right? So I was just like, boom. I applied for 2 different schools. I applied for a school in New York City, same music type of concept, and I applied for Harris Institute of the Arts, and I got accepted for both of them. I have a whole bunch of family in New York City that I could have stayed with.
Yeah.
And I knew nobody in Toronto. I had one brethren, and I chose Toronto.
Was it because you didn't want to depend on people and you wanted to do it in a place where you didn't have too many people? What was the logic behind that shit?
Well, I've been back and forward from New York from when I was a kid, and like know it like the back of my hand. You know what I'm saying? And I have, with all the family there, I felt like I'd be like overprotected. I wanted to try something new. I wanted to just try something where like I didn't know nobody, start fresh. So I said, fuck it. Made it down to Toronto. I moved in with the one brethren in Parkdale.
And that's how you ended up in Parkdale?
Yeah.
Because you knew one person who lived in Parkdale.
My one brethren, who was a Montrealer also, had already moved here a few years before that.
Yeah.
And he had a building, he moved into the building in King Dufferin. And I moved in with him.
Okay. So you come from Montreal now, you're in Toronto trying to figure out this music shit. When you came here, you came to start school, like you came around the time your school was starting, or was there
exactly when school started. So 1997, I enrolled and I got into Harris Institute of the Arts, and I started going to school. I'd walk from King and Dufferin over to Sherbourne and Queen, where the school is.
What were you taking at the school?
Music management and marketing, right? So they teach you about like, you have management courses. We had like live band courses where like you gotta go to events. Like that was one of our assignments. Like you come back like the next week, you know, what did you do? Where did you go? Our teacher would ask us, what bands have you gone to see? You know what I mean?
So when you're going to school for music marketing and management, but you came here to be an artist, did you want to use that information to promote yourself and manage your own affairs, or did you always have plans in the back of your head to be behind the scenes?
I wanted to be an artist who had his own label, who had artists as well. You know what I'm saying?
So you wanted to structure yourself like you said to Jay and Master P, and you wanted to understand the back.
That's who I was watching, and they're like, yo, you know, like Master P, when I first got here, like let's say like in 98 even, we're listening to like Ghetto D album from Master P, and this guy was dropping like albums every other week. You remember when Master P on the back of his album used to have all the new albums that were coming out? 5
sometimes of the same shit. You see the shiny font,
yeah,
all that, the gold and the diamonds and shit, and there'd be like in the back of like maybe the Source. I don't know what it was. Maybe the Source.
Double XL.
I'd be like, how's this guy dropping 11 albums next week? But they consistently do it, and the albums were consistently bringing the revenue.
So I'm like, yo,
you wanted to do the same
I could do that. And P's rapping too. Fuck.
Get bread both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? And like, if I was gonna go to school for something, I may as well go to school for something I'm interested in.
You love to do.
All right.
Looking back, do you feel like that school was necessary at the time? Because I guess at that time there wasn't so many resources like YouTube and all the shit we have now. So do you think that school was necessary to get you to the point you were now, or you could have skipped a step? And now would you still do that in today's climate?
That's a great question. I feel like it was definitely necessary. Everything that I've done in my life, like good or bad, it's all part of the journey. Like I would never like not do it if I had to redo it, right? But the thing about that school, even though I didn't graduate, I went all the way into the last semester and then fucked off.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Right? But I had a lot of connections that were made through that school. You know what I'm saying? There's people who went to that school in those years that work in record companies to today. You know what I'm saying?
So the network is more valuable than the information.
Yeah. I started working on the street team from that, which I mentioned in previous interviews. Like that's where I started working on the street team. You know what I'm saying? And then from working on the street team, it took me into a whole bunch of different things behind the scenes that I wasn't privy to before. So I didn't even have to graduate to be able to get that information. You know what I'm saying? I just had to be around.
Well, okay, fair enough. I agree. So probably the network is more valuable. In today's time, the same kid or you, would you say do it, or you YouTube use your independent knowledge that's out there on the internet and skip that shit? What would your advice be to a younger you or someone in the same situation right now?
I'd say do it and use both. All right, you got a bunch of free information, and then you can go into a place where you can network with people, learn from people who've had experiences in it, because all the teachers that were in that school were in the field. Either they were in the field or were in the field. You know what I'm saying? Like Ivan Berry was one of my teachers. He like was like the manager and like ran the record label for Dream Warriors and Factor. What was that compilation that came out back in the days? Fuck. But yeah, he put out a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And then like other like white guys that were like in the industry that I didn't know exactly what they were doing, but like they sounded like they were doing important shit. You know what I'm saying?
So if you're in that kind of setting, you're saying that if you utilize that setting in the right way, because there could be a kid that goes to that school but doesn't really crack to nobody, just goes to class, goes home, probably not worth the investment.
Well, then he's wasting his fucking time.
Yeah, like if you're going there strictly for technical skills, you could probably learn.
Well, there's a technical side, right? There's two
different
different programs. You could take marketing, or you can take the production and engineering side of stuff, right? And so there's a whole bunch of introvert motherfuckers that are in there doing that, right? Not to diss the introverts, that's me too, right? But I'm just the one that wanted to learn about the business.
But at the same time, you understood the power of the network back then. Okay, so at that time, you're going to school.
Sorry, not to interrupt you. I didn't understand it. I was just doing it. Yeah.
A lot of things in life you learn back. Like even when I look back to some of my earlier like entrepreneurial ventures, I didn't know I was being an entrepreneur. I just know I was like, this is what I like to do. I like to get money, and that was being an entrepreneur. Some of the things I was doing, but I didn't look at it as you find out later in life that I was networking or I was
like I'll read
doing
a
book, startup,
and they'll say some of the steps. You know when you're trying to do this, you should be doing this, and this, and this. And I'm like, oh, I did that.
Your brain is kind of wired that way. Okay, so you're in that setting. One of the first places I saw you that I didn't realize it was you until way later in life, doubling back and being like, wait a minute, is this the same? It was the Real Toronto shit.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Still, I won't lie. I watched a few interviews and I'm like, and I heard you saying like Parkdale and shit. I'm like, hold on, is this the same nigga? And yeah, it was. How did that situation come into play? Let's start there. How did that situation come into play?
I knew the director and creator of it. Right?
Okay.
I knew the guy who made the shit.
Who started the whole thing?
Yeah, a guy named Mad Russian. Okay.
I remember that name.
Yeah.
He was a director. He directed music videos and shit back then.
No, he didn't.
Or maybe I just know the name from Real Toronto. I know the name.
That's all he did.
Okay,
was the Real Toronto.
I know the Mad
Okay.
Russian. I'm like, I know him for being a director, but it's probably
he was a super Canadian hip hop fan.
Okay.
All he listened to is Canadian hip hop. That's what he told me via MSN, because that was our communication thing back in the day, right?
MSN Messenger.
So he used to hit me up because he used to like my music. And he's like, yo, I really fuck with your music, da, 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 da. I want to put together a DVD where I'm like talking to all the different artists from like Toronto and shit like that.
He was probably watching like Jordan Towers and them back then, getting fucking inspired.
I don't know.
Those are the youth that were doing it on the state side.
The World Star shit,
yeah,
right?
the World Star. And,
but I was just like, yeah, whatever, fine, we'll do it, right?
Yeah. And
I was the first one that they filmed.
So you didn't know what it was gonna be. You just know he's gonna pull up on you and
fanning him off all the time. Pause, like, yo, bro, when he's telling me, yo, I just finished doing a segment in Regent. Hey, yo, I just finished going to Jane and Finch.
Now
like,
you learn it's getting like, oh, what is this becoming?
Still not thinking shit,
still like,
bro.
ah, cool, bro.
I'm just like, all right, cool. KK. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you know you don't give a fuck KK.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever.
Cool, yeah.
But he's keeping me updated on how it's coming together. And then he dropped the video.
So what was your initial reaction? How did you get a hold of it first? Did you go and buy? Did he bring a DVD to you or send you some?
Yeah, he gave me a DVD.
A physical DVD.
Yeah.
So you popped the shit in, and what was your initial reaction when you first watched the whole thing?
I was like, this is cool.
Did you think about the blowback? Was that even on your
mind? No, it wasn't even fucking. It didn't even sink in, brother. You don't understand. Like, I was just like, whatever. And then CP24. All of that shit started fucking pouring out the news stories, showing man them burners and stuff like that. Mind you, I was me and one other segment on there were the only two that hadn't
pull out burners. You guys were the only segments where like you guys kind of just rapped. Shout out to my area, you know what I'm saying? Rapped out your area and then kept it moving.
Yeah, shout out to
But you're still kind of involved because you're just in the shit. So your name is just brought up with all the other shit. So I'm like, what was it like at that time for you just being on the road where people like coming up to you all the time?
It was the first viral shit before there was something to be viral on.
Yeah, it was viral on disc.
Yeah, I was bucking people on road. I was just actually talking about this yesterday. I bucked a kid in the elevator one time, a white youth. He said, yo, you're in that Real Toronto shit. This is 2005, okay? Pre-YouTube. He's like, you're in that Real Toronto shit, eh? I gotta do a fucking assignment on this shit, bro. I was like, sorry, man. Yo, people were going on to play the record to see Eugene and them, right?
Yeah.
And picking up DVDs from all over. Man is telling me teachers were coming from Barrie and all types of places to pick up the DVD so that they can do, like, explain shit in their courses and shit.
Because niggas got latched behind that, like, real cases and...
It's crazy. But, like, at the time, like, my face felt hot. Like physically hot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's some crazy shit back then, especially because there was no viral anything back then. It's just like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So when you saw that coming with your, like, when you already had the business, marketing, and that whole background at that point, I'm guessing, did you see this as an opportunity to, all right, now I gotta capitalize off this newfound fucking notoriety and shit?
Yes.
And what happened at that point?
I at the time, I'd already had like a couple of mixtapes out. You know what I'm saying? I put out some more. I started doing some management. This is when I started managing an artist named Scandalous, who was part of a group named Empire.
Okay.
Empire pretty much got me into a lot of the different things that I started moving around in the industry with, like, because they were like a group that a lot of people were checking for.
Okay.
So when I came in and I started managing them, it helped bring them direction. You know what I'm saying? And started getting me as well as them like into a lot of different venues that we weren't in before. You know what I'm saying? And fuck. I kept my foot on the gas.
And did you feel like that notoriety from this DVD, when you came into certain rooms, people are kind of already familiar with your face, that kind of broke?
That helped. That helped a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I can't say that it was my only motivation on like keeping my foot on the gas, but it definitely was like, yo,
it's still something, right?
You know what I'm saying? People recognizing your face from something already. Yeah. Let me just
keep it moving. A little bit easier to like, and it's an icebreaker.
It's definitely an icebreaker. I feel like at the time, because there was a lot of negative attention to it.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, okay.
It was like, it was a double-edged sword. Like, people know who you are, but then they associate you with something really like fucking negative.
Someone come up to you, like, you're the guy from Real Toronto, and they could be like, or they could be saying like, oh, you're the guy from that Real Toronto. Like, it could go both ways.
I get pulled over at them times, and boy, them be like, you look familiar. You look familiar. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. Can I have my ticket? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I knew that they seen the DVD because on the news they showed Bill Blair, who was the chief at the time, watching the DVD.
That's wild.
Legs lapped up, watching the DVD. They had the camera from behind him, showing him watching the fucking DVD, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I
remember watching that whole thing unfold as an observer, being like, yo, this is about to get wild. I think even back then I kind of saw like, I don't think these niggas should be doing this, but that was the trend back then, because think about it, French and Cocaine City, and that's what people were doing. You get on there in your block, you show burners, you fucking talk crazy, and you make yourself look as hard as possible. That was kind of the wave in that DVD era. Like, and those are the things when niggas came up off that. A lot of niggas became famous off, like Mano and those guys, they became famous off doing that.
I could have been the same way.
Yeah.
But man, them saved me and saved themselves from the bullshit. Cause I asked man them on the block, yo, we're gonna do this today.
Yeah. And man, so your plan was the same thing at first.
I had the same fucking plan. I'm not even gonna be like, yo, I'm smarter than you guys. Nah, man, I was like, I was with the bullshit.
We're gonna make our block look crazy. That was the thing back then.
And man, them were like, we're not doing that. I'm not coming outside for
some smart niggas in your ends.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Bless, and I still fuck with the same niggas, and they were just like, we're not doing that.
They want to keep a low profile.
Yeah.
That's smart. Okay, so that whole situation happens. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the music management side.
Okay.
Because I've been in situations where, because I know some artists and I've done things here and there, people have asked me to manage them. And I've always said, like, yo, I know personally I could never do that shit because I'm not in a stage in my life where I put someone else's life before mine.
Yeah.
Like that, I've seen managers and they legitimately have to put someone else's life before your life in order to get them successful. And it sounds cool, but it's not an easy job.
It's not fun.
How did you find the management? How did you find the role of being a manager? Like, did you enjoy it or was it fucking headache?
I enjoyed it, and there was headaches. You know what I'm saying? Like you're pretty much 24/7 making sure that this other person is okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a side of it. Like a side of it that I appealed to me, but that side of it.
And I had a group. Yeah, I had a 6-man group.
And they're dependent on you. So.
Well, not completely dependent on me, like for like their regular life, but like they're like, okay, you told us you're gonna help us get this music shit popping, right? So, and I was more than just a manager. I was like running the label. Yeah. So I'm booking studio time. I'm paying for the studio time. I'm on my computer making sure that we book shows. I've got a booking agent for us. I got a publicist for us. You know what I'm saying? I started putting all these different things in place that I learned from school, as well as just like watching the game. But at the same time, when you're bringing artists to radio stations and stuff like that, you're trying to make sure they don't curse. You're trying to make sure that, like, we were rolling deep.
Yeah.
Like there's 6 men in the group already.
Yeah, on some Wu-Tang shit.
Yeah. So besides the 6 mans, there's the entourage. So let's say each man has a brethren who wants to roll. That's 12 mans.
And now you have to coordinate and figure out the logistics and try to control that whole scenario.
You have to figure out how to travel 12
That's
mans.
what I mean, the logistics of that whole shit.
Yeah.
Who's paying for all this shit?
Well, if extra motherfuckers want to come, then
you gotta throw some.
Get in the whip. You know what I'm saying? But now when we get to the venue, there's a whole bunch of us. And I used to have to like make sure that everything was okay.
Bring like 3 at a time and shit, that kind of shit.
Or just the whole Mossy come in and it's like, yo, there's 12 of us coming in, walk, go on. 6 of them are performing and they're like, all right, whatever. But I found a way to be the diplomatic one out of that bunch that can get all of the things done, you know what I'm saying? Because before I came into the fold for that group, a lot of people were afraid to fuck with them.
Which is why management is necessary in a lot of situations. That person kind of ease people into the artists and their crew. Or
well, they had a rep, like they've torn down clubs before, you know what I'm saying? People fucking get into a fight and the next, you know, because you're not getting into a fight with 1-2 man, you're getting into a fight with 6 mans. The whole club's done, night shut down.
Reminds me of like Mob Deep and them niggas back in the day.
Yeah.
The stories of them in the tunnel.
I've been in those situations a few times where the club's like, it's done, forget it, like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I gotta be the diplomat at the end of that and find a way to mend the relationship with the promoter so that we can do something again. You know what I'm
Would
saying?
you ever get back into that role today as a manager?
I've thought about it. I really thought about it because I feel like now I'm at the point where the platform's there. We got my voice is loud enough, and I have enough connections where I feel like I can really benefit an artist.
Yeah.
But artists can be really fucking liable. They're liabilities, man. Like a lot of these guys, they're so fucking talented, but like a danger to themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can you explain a little bit what you mean by that?
Some of our most favorite artists are some of the most grimiest motherfuckers. Nobody could deny that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's happy rap and there's like emo rap and stuff like that. But especially when it comes to like Toronto and even different places like Chicago and different places, like we like that grimy shit.
Yeah.
Right? We want to hear that shit.
Until it gets too real and it's too close to you.
The guy who's delivering you the grimy shit, you want him to give you that grimy shit.
100%.
But he had to go live some grimy shit to give you that.
It's probably a grimy nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So you want to deal with this talented, grimy shit that you're like, yo, I love listening to this shit. Yeah. But you gotta deal with the fact that this guy might go to jail, he might get shot, you're rolling with him as his manager, they might fucking shoot you.
You're associated now.
You know what I'm saying?
Not your affiliate.
Oh, you're defending this man?
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But I really want to help an artist who I think this music's hot get to the next fucking level, and it becomes like a race. Like if you take the chance, how fast can I get you to that next level where you're safe and you don't have to deal with the fuck shit, and now you're just in this safe bubble where you can be as grimy as you want to be, but you're just away now.
But you're away from the fuck shit.
Yeah, like you don't have to go on road and go get your money.
I wanted to ask you something kind of based on that. I know when you have guests, one of the questions you guys like to ask people is top 5 or top 5 from the city. Or I want to do a little spin on it.
Okay.
So in the same kind of vein, let's say hypothetically, a major label, let's say fucking Atlantic, says, you know what, Friday, I see you're doing your thing, your relationship with a lot of artists, we're gonna give you a bag. I want you to run an independent label in Canada, and you have to sign 5 people. So now this list is not based on who you like. Business-wise, who are the 5 people you're drawing for?
Oh, Rich, man, why you gotta put me in this position, bro?
You have a bag. So this list is not based on only who you like, right?
You know what the thing is about this list, bro? Because when I say it, people are gonna be watching and then be like, a lie, so I'm not on that list, bro?
But there's a reason behind that. This list is a little bit more tricky. It's not based on...
Okay, so not based on...
It's not your top 5 who you
particularly
like.
as far as music-wise.
If this was the exact situation where you had the bag and they said, you can split this between the 5 people. There's 5 people, you have complete creative control. Who are you putting the money behind?
Kill the Crook.
Okay.
Wow. LB. Can I put LB and Prince Don in one package together?
I'll give you that.
All right.
I'll give you that.
Like their little squad there.
Yep.
Them.
Okay, let's do it.
Right. Whew. There's some people who I really like. I'm trying to fucking bring it all to mind now. French.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let me think about the ladies.
Women in hip hop are big right now. There's a whole fucking lane for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you might have to drop for chromas.
I might, but I'd probably drop for Nacia first. You know what I'm saying?
Reason being?
No shade on Chromas, because
Yeah,
Chromas has the full package. Like, people love her. You know what I'm saying? She's her fucking social media game is on point. You know what I'm saying? She's doing all the right things. But I just think Nacia raps a little better than her. Right?
So completely based on skill, like
just
rap.
on skill. And she's pretty and she has all those different elements too. She's just not as savvy marketing wise as Chromas is. So she's obviously not getting as much attention. Right?
But it's not. It's you know you could do something.
Yeah, she could rap her ass off.
100%. I agree. She's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
She's dope.
But then there's another girl, Sincere.
I don't think I've heard of her.
or Sincerely, or for Miss Sincere. She's a dark-skinned girl, puffy afro. She has a deep voice when she raps. She's fucking good, but she's like on the low. A lot of people don't know who she is.
Okay, she's still on the come up.
She's still on the come up because I don't see a lot of views on her videos. But when I check for her shit, I'm like, this is a fucking banging tune.
Is it dope?
And they're versatile. Like, she'll go from grimy rap to like doing like some house sounding type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But
So I'll give you Nessie a 4.
But that's not my pick. They're for the ladies yet.
I thought that's who you're going with. All right, go on.
Goldie London for the ladies.
Goldie London.
Yeah.
She could fucking rap.
She could rap. She got
Can't
the
be
look.
mad at that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So where are we at? 3?
4.
We're at 4.
You French. You got LB and Prince Don, Killer the Crook,
Mm-hmm.
and Goldie London.
And Goldie London.
Yeah, one more person. Your last Friday record, whatever the fuck you gonna call it.
Biz Loke. It fucking breaks my fucking heart, Bridget, because that guy is so fucking talented.
I 100% agree.
He could rap his ass off, and when he comes out with his shit, everybody's like glued to the screen.
Yeah, the whole city stops and watches.
Yes,
everybody.
But he has to stay out of fucking trouble.
And that's one of the things I've had these conversations too about Bizlo. Shout out Bizlo, it's the dog.
Shout out Bizlo, yeah.
But I've had those conversations when people talk about his antics. I'm like, that's cool, but yo, do you know this nigga? Like, this nigga really rap? Like, I think it's sometimes
keep the antics too.
His personality, I know, and it's necessary. That's not what I'm saying. His personality is what's usually the topic of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, that's cool, and that's what's getting notoriety. But I'm like, are you guys like? Are you listening to his music though? Because sometimes people are only watching Instagram clips.
Yeah.
They're not like how
they're not peeping the work.
Yeah, I'm like, the man's rapping like at a high level.
Yeah.
Like, niggas know we right. That's a high level of rapping. He's not just fucking around. So
you know what I mean? They might be taking in the ad libs. Oh, he went
Yeah.
But
like,
did you hear the amount of bars he spit in between?
That is cool. But are you like? I always say yeah, I agree. But the nigga rap his fucking ass off.
Yeah, and he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? It's just that the element of the level of grimy that he's dealing with, if it could just be contained in a fucking package where it's like you could be as grimy as you want to be, but you're safe.
But do you, with that bag, so I guess for you, a deterring factor is not that you can't cross.
No, if you have the bag, if somebody is really backing you, like,
there's ways.
And not to bring Tekashi and put his name next to any of these mans, because none of these mans is any way cut from the same cloth as that fucking pussy hole.
Not at all, at all.
However, that motherfucker was in the boundaries where he was able to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Fuck you, suck my dick. He's protected, he's in his little bubble. No matter what Treyway bullshit they're talking about, there was a record company and people with bigger money who's protecting his ass. So he can say whatever the fuck he wants and people will watch this fucking show. If we can get a bag behind somebody that, and like, be as grimy as you want. Don't fucking wreck a studio or something. But like, yo, if you want to get on Instagram and get grimy, cool.
And you can figure out the America shit.
Yeah, let's get you across the border because people are entertained, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like with our Canadian, because the style of rap that's so popular here is street, like for hip hop at least.
Yeah.
Let's say right now we're seeing a new thing where these young kids are authentic, like they're telling their authentic story. It's street. It's very similar to the UK kind of style that's popping. But I feel like in the UK, for whatever reason, some of those youths are getting to the bag more because they can travel Europe, even if they can't come here. Some of them or whatever. Or some of them, most of them can come here but can't go to the States. Because they can travel Europe and still get a $5,000 a show, a $3,000 a show. I feel like our infrastructure in Canada is so fucked because it's so limited to how much these kids can tour.
Yeah.
Most of them are coming from an authentic street background. They can't really cross right now. So you're touring, you're doing these Canadian tours, but how often can you do that little run?
And how many of them are really even doing the Canadian tours?
A select few. Like when you see ones that do, you're like, oh shit! Like he has 12 dates. He has 12 dates. That's like I remember when King Money, you know what I'm saying, for those guys, when King Money and Casper them did it, that was like a thing. With their tour, I watched like them talking about the tour. I used to go patching with those guys about they're gonna go on the Canadian tour and it's gonna kind of help to show that their fan base is real.
Yeah.
And it translates into dollars. Like nothing was happening at the venues. They were going to I think the first one they did was like a Ottawa, and like, they did one in Toronto, and it's like at least 1,000 people. So now
all
these
screaming, come outside,
word for word.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fucked as simple as it should seem. I don't think promoters that before that were really seeing as, yo, these YouTube millions of views translate to real people that are really coming out to the show. But then in those kind of situations, things happen, life happens, which makes it hard for a Canadian act to maintain that because they're living their authentic life.
Perfect example of so much talent, and if I could have like a sixth man on that list, it'd be those two men as like a conglomerate, right? Because like
super talented,
had their own bop.
Crazy.
When you hear them, you know it's them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're doing music that's completely different than anybody else. But when you hear them, you know it's them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have their own
like
sound and style.
Very definable.
Yes. Sitting inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the talent, yeah.
For more than a year now. You know what I mean? Like, come on, fam. Like, this come outside at 15 million or almost 15 million views.
Yeah. Like I tell people all the time, it's like the people who are not passionate to the scene, who just listen to radio, kind of don't understand it. But I'm like, yo, some of these little kids or some of these young people in Toronto are getting more views than major acts who have a bag behind them. Yeah. And it's crazy because it's not necessarily translating to revenue for all of them. But I feel like we're still in that figuring it out infrastructure phase of how can all this attention and these views and this fandom turn into real money for these kids. And I feel like we're still because it's so new in Toronto, it's still at the inception.
Mans don't realize that they're hot.
I don't think they know their value, a lot of them too, man. Like I don't think they know their value when they're taking a little bit of money for a show because it's like, fuck, at least it's money. Some of them haven't even seen nothing off their music yet, and they're sitting on millions.
Not everybody's even done shows, dog. You gotta understand, a lot of these artists who have millions or hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube have not even performed live before.
Ever.
And part of the reason that happens is because, and I can tell you even from the promoter standpoint, because I've tried to promote shows, I've promoted shows, and artists or venues will ask for a list of the people who you want to have perform.
I've done it, been down the same road.
Yeah, and they'll check with the friggin' division to see if it's okay. And you know they're gonna say no. 9 times out of 10, are you crazy? They'll say, you guys are menacing the streets. No. So why even bring the shit to them when you know they're gonna say no? So then who do you pick? You pick the safest guys. Which no diss to the safest guys.
They don't have the same pull.
They don't have the same pull. People want to see Biz Loc live.
Yeah, it's like if you're watching a drama show and nothing happens. The whole show, they meet, they talk, they get lunch, they go home. I'm not watching that shit again. If someone gets touched and then someone has a problem with that person, those are the shows we watch. People, this human nature, we naturally like to see a storyline. Right? So which is why Chicago's scene blew up so crazy. There was a storyline that you could follow. The actor that makes fucking help to blow up. In Toronto, it's the same kind of way. People now, these little kids at home, are watching a storyline and talking about it as if it's a fucking soap opera.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it is what it is. Okay, so going back a little bit to your list of the people that you said, I know it wasn't the first time I seen your shit with the Biz Loc shit, but that was the one that I seen people were talking about a lot.
The Discovery episode, I call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of the episodes where you first seen that. People think it's like probably one of your first ones, but you were doing it for I don't know how long before that, maybe
almost a year, because that episode dropped in November of 2017 and we had started in February 2017. So that was episode 47.
That was like a year in. So how did that interview even come to place? Did you just hit him up online? You know someone? How did that interview come?
Shout out to Nemesis.
Shout out Nem, that's the dog.
Right? Nem, he and he's also alumni of our show, right? He put me on.
directing his early vids.
Yeah. He directed the Dark Side video and all that, and he put me on to Biz. He's like, check this out. And I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Right?
DMX all over it.
Yeah. And he's like, you got to get him on the show. And at the time, I was interviewing a lot of older heads. I was just going through my Rolodex to just get the interviews popping.
Because those are the people you already had relationships with from your artist manager. Like it.
So I'm there looking like, okay, I'll interview him. Cool. Because he's like, yo, you should interview him. And I was like, anything for them. Don't worry, I'll do that.
Good guy.
All right. And then he'd gotten shot. That's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. And he talks about this in his own shit, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna interview this guy. I was actually off of the interview thing. I was like, not postpone, like off this.
Yeah.
Right?
But you don't want to get mixed up in the whole
shit. Yeah. And we're still like comfortable just interviewing older heads, right? We did a full ladies month, and then he dropped another video. I forgot what video I dropped at the time. Right? It was around them times. It might have been the XX Tentacion remix or whatever. Look at Me remix.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? All right.
Did you kind of see what's gonna happen? Like, this guy might just fucking blow up, like based on what's what
yeah,
he's doing.
not only that, but I'm like, this guy's too fucking sick.
And he's hard, yeah. He's
I was like, all right, forward. And I hit up Nem, and he was like, all right, I'll holler at him. And then I just hit him directly, and I was like, yo, you want to jump on the show? And he was like, boom. And then he came through. That episode, he was drunk already. For all the people who were like, yo, why? He was already drunk when he came in the building.
As soon as he stepped in the door.
Yeah, he had drank 3/4 of a bottle of like a big bottle of Henny.
Yeah.
And then we put a bottle of Henny in his hand. That he beat the whole fucking episode.
He's holding it the whole time. That's
and he killed it by the end of the episode.
Watching it, just like yeah.
Yeah. So he had like basically like a bottle and a half of Hennessy in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why he was acting crazy. But in my mind, I knew that interview was.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. So you're in the interview.
Mm-hmm.
You're somebody who watches interviews. You study interviews.
Mm-hmm.
As you do the interview, did you think, okay, this shit's about to, like, were you thinking as you're having the conversation, this shit's gonna gain traction just because of the way you're going, or are you just trying to more navigate the interview because he's saucy and all that shit?
There was a bit of both going on.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to get to the end, and this is like with a lot of interviews. Right?
Yeah.
We're interviewing and we're in the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping time also. Right. I have the mixer board on the side here. I can see how long from when I pressed record that the interview is going on for. So once I seen like if people really check back to that interview, once I got about 20 minutes in, I was ready to go. I was like, all right, so what you got coming up next?
So any future projects coming up? That's when you're trying to wrap this shit up.
That's when this starts happening in my head, right? So fucking, and then him and her having their little moment going back and forth, and that's what made it longer. But I was already checked out from the 20-minute mark. I was just like, this is going too crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I got enough. And in my mind, when it was done, I was like, this is going to be fucking crazy. And he was already hot. And we had to cut out a few pieces. And
did someone on his end tell you to cut out, or you yourself said, nah, I'm
there was a
not
couple of judgment calls on our side, and then, we communicated after, because he's super cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was like, yo, once you chop these few pieces out, I'll share that, dog. And I was like, say less. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. Sent it back to him. He started sharing it. And then from there...
Did you initially think that when you watched the footage that, like, fuck, he's going to say, like, yo, fam, nah, I'm too wavy, don't even post that. Did you think he was going to have that reaction? Because, sometimes... I
never did.
Yeah, you didn't think that?
This happened later on in the... Past this,
yeah.
After his interview, this has happened with interviews that have never touched the screen.
That niggas asked you, like, nah, don't post that shit?
Yeah.
But what was the reason for those ones? Like,
I feel stupid.
Or I was nervous or some shit, or like what?
Yeah, or maybe cut this piece out, which there's pieces of interviews that I'm the only one who'll ever see.
Did that come from them just remembering what they said and saying, yo? Or like, you let niggas see it before? Or how did they even come to say that?
Well, there's two different ones. There's sometimes where I'm like, because we try to keep it music, right? And but we're still talking about your life, or again, when you grow up, and then sometimes mans will get a little bit too much, where they're like, yo, I was really on this shit, and I was like, chop, that's out. Yeah. But then we have other situations where the video's up, it's been out there, it's got its views, and then people didn't like the reaction that they got from it.
Like the comment section, you're tearing them up, like, yo, take this down.
I'll give you a hot one right now.
Come on, man, I'm the one's exclusive. My nigga Friday.
Famous Girl. We had that interview. Remember? Who? You know who Famous Girl is?
No. Not that famous.
Who's that? She's like a IG model.
Famous Girl. Is she like dark skin maybe?
Dark skin girl.
I think maybe I've seen it.
Dope. Beautiful girl.
Maybe I've seen it before it came down. I'm not sure.
It was on our show 6 list. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it.
And it was a live performance, right?
I feel like I've seen it. Oh, okay.
We have a live performance, because in the shows in 6 list, we used to try to do, live performance and then cut into your interview after and all that, right? We were trying to ting in
just figure shit out, yeah.
And she did a live performance. We didn't know she rapped, right? But she wanted to do her thing. She did her thing. She rapped.
Go on.
She did the interview. And, shout out to the guy who used to co-produce the shows with us before, a guy named AJ.
Was he the one doing the 6 list?
Yeah, he was the one doing the interview. He was the voice in the interview.
Okay.
Right? I'm getting hit up in the street. People are fucking, not in the comments, even though the comments were like, yo, broke ass Cardi B and all type of shit. People are hitting in the comments. Because our comments, comment gang strong. They're vicious sometimes.
Yeah.
They
don't hold back.
Yeah, they'll come for you if they're not feeling you, or if you don't got all your stripes like you say you did,
they'll call you out.
Your stripes are gonna get pulled in the comments.
He's not really like that. He's capping.
Yo, I went to high school with that guy. He was a good youth.
Yeah.
You'll get those ones, right?
Yeah.
But they were killing her in the comments, but she's saying people were hitting her on the road.
Was it because of what she said or her performance?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
And she asked you to take it down?
She asked the homie to take it down. He asked me. I was like, nah. And then after he was like, come on. And there was a couple of different little politics because she deals with a few people that, I want to keep good relationships with. So I was just like, fine. And I took the motherfucker down.
But don't come back for another one type shit.
Don't ask me for shit.
Don't waste my time. Because you spent your fucking time editing, recording you, all that shit.
And that's just one. There's about 3 others of people whose interviews that could have been up there.
That never dropped.
Or dropped, and I had to take it down. And the reason I'm saying it like this, because it pissed me off.
That's just your time.
You know how much time it takes to fucking export? No, don't mind the editing part.
Just the actual export.
The export could be like 24 hours sometime for a 45-minute interview.
Yeah,
so you tell me to take this
that
down?
now. I'm doing that, y'all. Don't kind of cheese me still, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And I gotta pay for the studio that we fucking did a show in.
Yeah, who's recouping these costs now?
Right? So just keep that in mind next time motherfucker asks me to. That's why I put out release forms a lot of times now.
So like once you talk on this microphone, my nigga, there's no, if I choose to put this up, I don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah, bro.
I'm putting it up.
See me.
Now, touching on that kind of shit, I want to kind of stay in that lane. When you're starting off early, you're initially talking to people that you know. That's how most people start. Mm-hmm. That's how you try to find the person who maybe most known or might have the most interesting conversation that is in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I guess you kind of took the, I don't want to say drink champs, but that kind of approach of talking to the people who were more legendary, established in the game. When you started transitioning to the young boys who might not have known you, was Bizloke the first one that you hit up? Or was there people that you were hitting up that were kind of like, nah, at first? That made it double fast?
He was the first.
So has anyone ever that you reached out to said nah and then doubled back and asked for an interview? Has that happened?
Yes, a couple of times. And I've been asked for money for interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you gotta have to pay me. And this is like when we were super young in the game. And I was just like, wait, we don't do that.
Were you tempted?
No, I was not tempted at all. Because we get more views on our interviews than that motherfucker get in his music videos.
So it's not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, but at the time we weren't. So he was like, yo, I need a bag. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. We've been through a lot of different things. Like, we're 141 episodes in. I don't know how many will be by the time this drops.
Mm.
But with that, that's just of the podcast. 6 views and 6 lists are also a bunch of other interviews as well.
Why did that stop?
6 lists stopped because AJ stopped working with us. We parted ways. Right?
You didn't feel it was worth it to put somebody else in that same position and carry it on, or was it his idea, or what was it?
It was a combination of an idea that we both came up with together. So with him leaving, we kept the intellectual property as far as like the videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But because he was part of the creation process of it, we wouldn't be able to move forward and make new ones. So that's when I started 6 views.
Okay.
Right?
That's when I went from 6 lists to 6 views.
Exactly. And I started doing the interviews myself.
Do you guys still do 6 views now, or you focus on?
I haven't done the 6 views in a while, but that's like my fake Vlad TV, I guess. You know what I mean? Where you don't see the artist,
the POV.
Or you don't see me, you just see the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We pulled for Saji again, did the part 2.
That was another one that I feel like a lot of people started. I think Bizloke, from just my view outside looking in, Bizloke and then Saji were one of the ones that kind of went viral.
Absolutely.
Quickly and brought people in.
Yeah. We still get people who come in from Saji videos, like from their point of entrance was like, yo, I watched the Sagittarius. Women especially.
Yeah.
They're like, I was watching this video and then I started going onto the channel and then I discovered you guys.
And Saji said, when's the Debbie interview coming, fam?
It's not coming.
So this is like
never coming.
This is my question, right? When you have characters who have the notoriety for whatever reason they have based on whatever fuckery, there's people who gauge it as, okay, fuck it, I want the views, I want to get them on. Like, why Saji and not Debbie then?
Okay, and that's a really, really good question. The first time that we did the Saji interview, when AJ came to me and said, yo, we're gonna do this, I want to do this interview with this girl. I didn't know who she was. I was just like, fine, right?
So it wasn't like a thought out
Yeah.
thing. Like that.
But at the same time, I understood why, because it's like, all right, you know, she's getting a lot of social media attention, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So we went for the low-hanging fruit at that point, and did that interview.
Which served its purpose, I guess, at that point.
And my whole thing is bringing people to the channel so that the channel will be hot, so that when we're interviewing them now you got a channel where a lot of people are watching.
So it's a necessary evil.
Exactly.
Type shit.
But the difference with her is that she went on to do a bunch of different shit. As soon as she started getting a lot more popular, whether it's to her interview with us
she
or
did her
whether
own YouTube channel or some shit.
She started her own YouTube channel that has more subscribers than we do. Okay? And she puts out videos almost daily at one point. Debbie's just getting on the gram. She's not even getting on her own Instagram.
People are just recording.
People are recording her, and she just on road, and people are just catching her. So she's not like, yo, I want to do something further with this.
What
shit.
if Debbie starts doing music?
Then maybe we might be able to have a conversation. To be honest,
I just want to see the interview.
Right?
It's selfish.
But there has to be a purpose.
There has to be a reason why.
Yeah, like when I went and draw for Saji the second time, it wasn't because she's just talking shit or whatever. It's because she had a channel at that point and everything.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, you got a YouTube channel? Let me draw for her again before she blows up too fucking much and we're not able to talk to her.
You've seen that she had the potential to grow and do something based on her
She's
personality.
trying to do
and her
something.
antics and some shit.
Debbie's just there, but
So what do you say
not
about
dissing Debbie, but she's not trying to be in entertainment in any kind of way.
Shut up, Debbie and her R, you know what I'm saying? But what do you think about platforms like 6buzz that controversial at this point, but that constantly promote and push her? She's like a staple now on that kind of page. What do you think about doing that for the clicks?
It's a weird relationship I have with that, because like I understand it, I get it.
It's not your style though.
It's just not my style. Right? But it is my style in a way, because I posted Wovicky a bunch of times too.
I've seen that.
Right?
Yeah.
Anytime I want to have some fun and I'm just like, yo, you know, everything's getting too serious.
Yeah.
You know, just remember Wovicky exists. Right? And it's also like a
if life ever gets too crazy, just remember, Vicky's a thing.
Yeah, like, and it's also a teachable moment. Like in my sick brain, I'm like, yo, do you guys know that we created this girl, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, same thing with Debbie.
Yeah. So
Toronto, definitely.
Look what we created. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm like, fuck. I can't be mad at them for posting her. But at the same time, I can be, because I'm like, there's so much other fuckery that they could post that like you can post other fuckery and just post and not post her, right?
Do you have any relationship with 6buzz? Have you guys had any correspondence?
Yeah. From time.
Have you guys ever discussed any kind of collaboration, or have you guys ever worked together? Like, what's your view on the overall channel? So I want to work it out.
I have a cool relationship with them. There's a couple of people over there that I've spoken to in the past. I have no issues. I like what they're doing. I think that it's a necessary evil, if you want to call it evil part of it, because there's a lot of negative shit that we get to see from a lot of crazy reposts. But if we're gonna have something big, at least have it in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? World Star was a huge thing that everybody had in the States. You know what I'm saying? If we have a Toronto version that famous people are watching from the States to see what's going on over here, then fine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's things that I go on in my brain of reasons why I can have issues, but I'll keep those to myself.
Because the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because I feel like 6buzz is interesting, because it's one of those platforms that people tune into, but it's one of the most like polarizing fan bases. Like, there's people that fucking hate this shit. Like, why does this exist? Even though they watch it, they'll be in the comments like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you posting that? Because I feel like whoever's in charge of posting, or the team that's in charge of posting now, I consciously or subconsciously, like, I offend specific groups or type of people, or just based on their content. So it's not, I don't feel like they're as impartial as like a World Star or somebody who just posts everything, and like they have like targeted content that
like
agendas that kind of rub people the wrong way. So it's you kind of see the personality behind it a little bit more than, even though they're anonymous to an extent.
To an extent, I guess.
People know. But it's, I don't know, I feel it's an interesting platform in that way, because it's a new thing that really hasn't happened in Canada as yet. So it's like, what the fuck is this thing? Why are they posting this? Why aren't they posting this? And a lot of artists are mad who are not getting posted.
Yeah, but they don't post artists. They just repost stuff. That's the thing that they're able to be like, yo, the thing that they do repost is usually on their channel, on their YouTube channel, right? And I'm sure there's like a paywall and stuff for that to happen, right?
For sure, yeah.
My whole thing is this, and this not even just 6 Plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to repost. It's hard to make content.
Original content.
Right? Original content.
Mm-hmm.
Not hard, it's not as easy.
It takes more time and effort and resources and all that shit.
So big up to them doing that. But my whole thing is, when you can post original content and that goes viral, that's a different fucking story. You know what I'm saying? You can post all the fuckery you want. A crackhead fucking runs in the middle of the street and he fucking gets hit by a car. Of course enough people are gonna be like, oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you produce a fucking piece where people are like, yo, this conversation was so insane, man, people need to see this, like, I need to share this to everybody.
Yeah, because of this, who was ever in the room at that time, that dynamic they created, there was nothing else besides that conversation.
Yeah.
And just watching interviews of you in the past, I think that at one point you were kind of more on the other wave. You had a YouTube channel, I believe, that you said that you're just posting commentary, posting whatever, like, fuck it, I want to talk about this, post this clip, and then your channel got taken down based on strikes, I guess, with YouTube. When that happened to you, when you were, I guess, just about to bridge like the 10,000 subscriber mark, did you almost say like, fuck this shit? Was there a part of you that was like, yo, honestly, fuck this shit, like, I worked too hard for this shit, fuck it?
No.
Or did you right away go back in bounce back mode?
You know what I'll be doing? I'll be doing this shit while I'm like, yo, fuck this shit, man. Yo, fuck this fucking shit, man. Yo, I should fucking quit this. While I'm actually in the motions of doing the thing and doing it all over again.
It's just part of your...
I'll just complain and bitch about it, but I'm fucking gonna do it. Yeah. I'm not gonna not do it.
Like, you already came so far.
My brain is not wired to quit, Richard. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll bitch about it, but I'm not gonna not do it, Richard. I have to get it done.
Because some people would have stopped at that point.
No. If I already established 10,000 subs, why the fuck would I stop?
Yeah.
And the thing is, what happened is, when the channel went down, we actually got hotter.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
Because people were looking for it, or like, what was the...
I had no idea. People kept on hitting us up for promotion posts and stuff like that. And I'm like thinking to myself, motherfucker, do you not know that we're back at 0 on our fucking channel?
Yeah.
And people are like, yo, rate the show. And it started getting more at that time. And I'm like, nigga, like, we got no channel right now. Or like,
that kind of fucked up at the time that you're getting so much love and you know that you just had this big platform, but now it's like you're starting from scratch. It's a weird. It must be a weird feeling, know that you had to start from 0 again, but then at the same time you're getting so much love, but you don't have that subscriber, which is so.
Yeah, like we literally started back at like 0 subscribers that the same day that the channel went down, and I opened a new one, just, you know, trying to rebuild. Now we're at almost at 7K.
So you're almost right back to that point. And that was how long ago?
About a year.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
Because we lost the thing last year, July, and we're in September now, October. It took me 3 years to get those subs, or more than 3 years to get the subs that I had before. It took me a year to almost to the year now that it took to get it back.
That speaks to what you've been doing more recently then.
Yeah, and it's taught me to fucking lean on the website too.
So until you guys do Instagram, and I know you, like, fuck you, I feel like you have like multiple different Instagrams that you control that are affiliated with this shit. You have your Instagrams, you have your YouTube channel, and then you have a website, which is welovehophop.ca. Do you feel like most of your viewership comes from YouTube, or do you feel like, because I feel like websites are still a thing, 100%, don't get me wrong, there's still clicks and shit, but do you feel like most of your traffic comes from YouTube, or do people actually still go to the site to follow it? Like,
well, it comes from YouTube, mainly, but the link that I share in the bios, on my Instagram, is to the website. And in the website, you could find the embedded YouTube videos inside the episode. So
when people click, it's gonna go to...
You'll be on YouTube anyway, but you're just watching it through our website.
Okay.
Right?
Now, I know with 6 views, you were trying different shit. Right now, you've been pretty consistently putting out interviews. Do you find, or do you ever think about that it might get to a point, because you're doing it based in Toronto, that you might run out of people to talk to? Have you ever thought about that, like, down the line, or what's your, like, I guess the question would be, is the plan to continue to do what you do, or is the plan to more be like a multimedia company, or what's like the vision?
I want to continue doing the podcast and having that as one of the mainstays, but this has evolved into so many different things now, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about off camera, like we brought down Dizzy Wright and Mad Child and did live performances where people are coming to see these guys live. I'm hosting shows, you know what I'm saying? I want to make it where, and I've said this before, we're the new Complex. You know what I mean? Shout out to Complex, you know, being that multimedia platform where you got different fucking guys who are doing this show and that show, and you know, you got different news reporters that are just giving you daily news. That's what's going on in the music scene or the entertainment scene. Like, I want to be able to hire like at least 50 people for staff. You know,
so to have like an office space. Where you have someone's doing the news, someone's doing a different interview, a different kind of interview, POV, you're doing your interviews. You want to have a channel where it's consistent content. Just cracking out content all the time.
Like, like 6 Views, the interviews, I do the 6 Views interviews myself. Eventually I don't want to be doing that myself. I want to have somebody who's behind the camera doing those interviews.
But how hard is that? Because I feel like, I know for myself personally, I feel like if I were to ever get to the point to do something like that, I'm kind of a control freak. In the way, like, I don't know if I would trust someone to do the interview the same way I might watch it and be like, what the fuck, like, why didn't you ask this? Or do you feel like you'd have to...
That's fine.
You have to
vet people. I still have the podcast. Right? So anybody who I interview on the podcast, or her can I interview on the podcast, I can get that shit off then.
Cause I feel like the reason I asked that question is I feel like Vlad tried to do that. Because if you remember at one time, Vlad TV, they used to do random girls interviewing, I don't know who she was, and then maybe it lasted, I don't know, not even a year, and then he pulled back and did everything himself. I don't think I ever even, actually, I think I maybe did hear him speak about it, and it was for that same reason. Like, he would get these guests who are decent guests, should be getting the numbers, but the comments were all like, where's Vlad? I feel like that's kind of tricky, especially when people get so attached to your perspective on shit, that they come to your channel and they might, if you get lucky, you'll find someone who they fuck with, but it might take, I don't know, it might take vetting a few different people, trial and error.
It's not easy.
I'm on board with the multimedia. I think it's a natural like transition for you guys. It makes sense.
It's not going to be easy, but it's doable.
100%. 100% doable. It's definitely not far-fetched. I've known by watching your interviews that there's been a connection to OVO through, I don't know where exactly it started from or how it came to be, but I know that you said like 40 allowed you guys to use the different spaces and just showed love on and off camera. Where did that relationship start?
Well, 40 was part of Empire.
So was he part of the original people that you were managing? That's crazy. That's crazy.
A lot of people don't know, like, he was the engineer, he was the producer. Before I came along and started managing Empire, he was there with them. That's his brethren from time. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to the little studio that them man used to record at Sherburne and Dundas in the hood, right? He was in there turning the knobs, working the Pro Tools, right?
That's insane. Before you had that relationship in 40 back then.
This is 2004.
So
maybe
what was
2003.
What was it like for you watching that transition? Because you watched it from a different perspective than most people got the opportunity to watch it from.
Yeah, because like I seen him doing engineering, like growing in the engineering game. Besides engineering for us, he was engineering Socrates, Jellystone, Divine Brown, who they still work with now, right? And Jelly's always still in the mix, right? Jelly got an OVO chain, right? But like, I seen all of that growth, right? I've watched the man record crispy ass vocals in his mom's house with no booth.
A wizard, You know
what I'm saying? Part of the reason why I know how to manipulate sound waves and stuff like that is from watching 40. You know what I mean? Just watching him over his shoulder while he's engineering a session and like he's cleaning the vocals while mans are still rapping. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, when I started seeing him like blowing up after Drake came along, because Drake came along like 07 or something like that. Right? 06, 07 they started linking. 06 they started linking up, and he started being in the same studio sessions as us. Like we're leaving a studio session, he's coming in, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And then I went away for a little space of time. And when I was gone for that year and change, that's when like they just started
taking off.
Like Best I Ever Had came out like 2008, something like that. I started getting to my shit in 2009. By the time 2011, when everything was kind of like I was home and everything was cleared up, I'm watching man's on like MTV Diaries. Right? Like he's the face of MS.
Yeah. So were you hearing about it while you're inside? You're
Yeah.
hearing about the whole shit and things are coming in, like I don't know, whatever. I don't know what kind of form of shit they had in there at that time to even fucking.
No, I'm just watching Drake blow up, and I'm
TV
like,
and shit.
I'm like, Drake is blowing up, he's blowing up, but I know in the back of my mind, like 40's his engineer.
So
Right? Or we didn't even call him 40.
This guy was still Noah or whatever. What do you guys call
We
him?
call him Bibber, or like he's always had the name 40 because he's 40 days and 40 nights because he could be up for that long engineering, right? But it was Bibber that we call him, right?
That was his name back. That was his moniker or whatever.
Yeah,
back
because
then.
Noah Shabib.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I guess Drake made that 40 stick to him, and then you know what I'm saying. But I'm watching like him blowing up, or watching Drake blow up. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this guy's his engineer. You know what I'm saying?
So you know that this guy's blowing up, my nigga, or someone who I'm close to is coming right there with him.
Yeah.
That's his song guy.
It's crazy because there'd be times back in the days where because he's the face of MS, right? He just had multiple sclerosis forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he'd disappear on us where we'd be like, yo, where is this guy? You know what I mean? For like a week straight. And we'd be cheesed because like he's holding on to our fucking vocals or whatever, and it's like, Virgin, like, where are you? And he'd pop back up. You know, he'd have a cane sometimes, and like he'd be like, yo, I'm going. He's like, I was sick. Not mentioning nothing.
Just dealing with his own shit humbly.
Yeah.
On the side.
I watched MTV Diaries with Drake, and he mentioned that the man had MS, and that was the first time I found out.
He didn't want to put, he seems, I don't know him personally at all, but it seems personality wise, from any story I've heard about him, is like we wouldn't want to put that kind of burden on other people. Humbly, like, to himself.
Because I was just like, for real? Nigga, why didn't you just say that the whole time? Yo, we used to be so angry, like, stop, where are you?
But he doesn't want to, like, I guess, stress people out or whatever, his personality thing.
But yeah, but the thing is, after that time, I started reconnecting with him, like I would say maybe 2012, you know, still keep up on Facebook or whatever. And then I started doing the show, and it started growing, and like I still keep in communication with him. And a lot of people don't realize, like, no matter how big this guy is or that, they still stay plugged in.
Yo, that's what I'm gonna say. A lot of people say that. Like, the first time I really even like had that come to my mind, I think it was Memphis Bleak. Memphis Bleak was doing an interview, and he's like, niggas don't know, Jay-Z watches everything.
Yeah.
He's like, this nigga's on World Star every site. He knows the littlest guy to the biggest guy. He's like, so don't think that these niggas, just because they're so big, they have a laptop just like you.
Yeah.
They're looking at the same shit we're looking at. So if a nigga from Toronto is being interviewed and he's the guy, Drake's tuning in.
Yeah.
Did you ever get those messages or calls for him like, yo, I seen that interview, that was crazy? Did those things start happening?
Yes. That's when I started realizing shit is getting really real. Because, you know, I've had times where I've pulled stuff off because I had a conversation with him. He's like, we can't talk about that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, say less. And
That's
pull
one
the
way to pull
interview.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, really.
Like, I could talk about one of them because we reposted it after.
Yeah.
The Nice for What. When Nice for What dropped.
Okay.
Nice for What there was a leak. Okay. And Lauryn Hill's son was listening to it in the car, and he put up or Lauren was listening to it in the car or whatever, and her son videotaped it and posted it on his Twitter.
This. Yeah.
Right, so it leaked. Right. But before that, I heard the song. I heard the song like months before the shit dropped, and I was like, "This is high. Oh shit, did you clear that yet?" And he's like, "No, we're waiting for the clearance for Ray Tay Tay."
Yeah.
After I heard it, I heard about the leak. So I'm like, "Yo, I'll go on." I hit him up. I'm like, "Yo, there's a leak. Can I talk about it in the show?" And he's like, yes, whatever you gotta do." Okay. So I talk about it, but I talk too in depth. Like, yo, I heard it, and Ray Tay Tay, and I start going off doing my thing, and then
you just tell the whole story.
I tell the whole fucking story.
But you shared a little bit too much.
I shared too much.
Yeah.
I posted shit, and then I get a call, and he's like, "Bridget, yo, pull that," and I was like, "Say less." Pulled it. But when Nice for What finally dropped and everything, I was like, "Yo, can I repost that?" And he's like, "Stop."
Fair enough. Shout out Corey too. Shout out my nigga Corey and Roy. You know, they were involved in that whole process.
But the thing is because that makes me know the boy's watching. So he might be like, "Yo, what the fuck are these guys talking about?"
Yeah, because They're patched in the same way. Especially Drake, you can tell he's somebody who studies the culture because he's always drawing for the kid that has that little buzz first hopping on the song. Like he's super quick to shit.
And I've spoken to everybody else in the camp too.
And not just like in our culture and like multiple genres. He's quick on shit.
Yeah.
So you know he's watching.
And I've spoken to other guys in the camp, especially after that last OVO fest. You know, we got the access. It was the first time we got to go to something like with all that access, and I talked to the man's backstage. I didn't get to talk to Drake.
Yeah.
Right? But I talked to Chubbs, I talked to a few, and
they're saying they're patched in.
They're patched in. I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, man's like, Obi are hitting me up like, yo, we watch you guys in the studio. I'm like, for real? Yo, bless.
So, with that relationship being in place, and being at the point you are now, have you asked for the interview yet?
Man, I'm not fucking asking for the Drake interview, bro.
But why not?
Cause he don't interview with people. This is what people don't understand. Like, the man is, unless you got a British accent, he ain't doing no interview with you,
the fucking Zane Lowe once every
fucking. If he's not going to Ebro, he's not going to fucking Charlemagne. And not to say that I don't believe in myself, right? But I'm just gonna be a realist. The man doesn't do much interviews.
Yeah, but I feel like I know why it's probably like unrealistic. But I feel like if he were to do an interview and did it with somebody from Toronto, I feel like it would just be fucking like a different kind of conversation that he couldn't have with somebody outside. Maybe this is my selling point right now, 40, if anyone's watching.
You hear that, Drake?
I feel like it would be a Toronto or someone who's been based in Toronto for a long time that's so intertwined with Toronto. That's a focal point of Drake's whole career, music, everything. It would be a different conversation.
There the whole time.
That's what I mean, because of the affiliation and because of you being affiliated in probably multiple different ways to the story and being in Toronto. I feel like, I know like it wouldn't be like a publicist wouldn't be like, yeah, we gotta go there. But I feel like Drake's so patched in with like the ground level shit that it would just be dope. Like for the culture.
Publicists go, what?
That's where he went first. Like, yeah, I watch these niggas, they're doing their thing.
Well, he was on football media. Remember that?
But that's why I'm saying it's not too far fetched for me to see Drake be like, you know what? We'll go sit down with that nigga. We're gonna have a Toronto conversation that I'm not gonna have with an Ebro who might be like, so Scarborough, what is like? You know, they're kind of far removed.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be dope. You know what I mean? Personally,
I'll bring the piff, fam. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it would be so far removed. So before we wrap it up, I want to make sure we spoke a little bit about your backstory. We touched into the show, what the future plans are, but I wanted to touch on something that I feel like it's coming up more and more now. I don't know if it's based on just the climate or people are more woke, but just talking about the situation of people who spent time inside and came out and are trying to maneuver their way through life. When you did that last stint that you were talking about in 09, I think you said it was?
09 till, well, I started doing the time itself. The initial charge happened in 09. I started doing my time in 2010, and I was home in 2011.
So coming home now from that stretch, can you talk a little bit about your mindset, knowing that you're now somebody who has a criminal record, maneuvering in life, still got bills to pay, still got shit to figure out. Did you feel at that point that your options were limited? Or did you ever feel like, what effect did you feel like that had in your life at that point, and now how has it shifted your ability to maneuver through life as an entrepreneur?
It's a weird paradox because it actually was the thing that showed me my full potential, right? It could be the thing that set me back because it makes it harder to go to the States and stuff like that, but it actually propelled me way further forward than anything would have ever done in my life if I didn't get locked up and catch that wake-up call. Because that was the time when I stopped drinking, and not saying that drinking is wrong, it was just wrong for me, right? So I stopped drinking at that time. That was 2010. You know what I'm saying? I learned the value of my time, and being behind bars, there's a lot of things that you can't get done. All right. So I came home. I got a job working in a corporate office, which I would have never even thought about doing before. I didn't have to go get a job, but when I was on parole, that was one of my conditions: get a fucking job. I scored a job, and I can say now that I don't work there, I worked for Shoppers Drug Mart in their head office for 6 fucking years. Wow. And I was training people, okay? I'm training people how to use the Optimum program, Bridget. I'm training, like, back to front. I've written manuals on training, okay? I worked
So
in
you're getting
social
like
media.
policy, like in-depth shit, like
Yeah,
not
dog.
surface level shit.
Suited and booted every day. 3 years at a time, I was still on parole of those 6 years that I worked for that company. Going to see my PO outside to check in with him and give him like whatever paperwork for the month or whatever. But I would have never had to do that if I didn't go to jail.
Not to cut you off, but so your criminal record at that point didn't stop you from getting employment, or when you did your initial resume.
I got blessed.
How did, like, I want to go back to the story, but how did you even get into the door? Because a lot of people are gonna watch that and be like, how he had a record.
Okay, I'm not gonna be like, okay, you know, it's gonna work out for everybody when it comes to that situation itself.
Yeah.
But I'm also bilingual. I come from Montreal. They see that on my resume I'm bilingual, so that got me through. When it came to the criminal record part, I got looked over. For some reason, the job blessed me, and they did not check to see if
how did you answer the question?
I didn't. I never had to.
Also, it wasn't part of the...
I never had to. Because when I was training people would ask me, yo, where can I go photocopy or fax off this thing for my criminal background check?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yo, the machine's right down there.
So you never asked you for a background check?
And I'll be like, wait a minute. When did this, you guys are doing this? And I'm finding this out while I'm training.
That would have stopped your whole process.
I would have never gotten in the office.
That's
but
crazy.
God bless me where I was just like, yo, today we're not doing that for this guy or whatever, and I got in. And from when I realized I was in, and I was like, y'all let me in the building? I'm like, I ain't fucking leaving.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, when you work, and this translates to anything, you get a job for something or for somebody, you make yourself so valuable that you can't be fired. It takes 3 people to replace me. That's my mind state. That if you fire me, you have to hire 3 people to take what I was doing for you. So just don't even bother.
You create value in yourself.
Exactly. Create so much value that I literally have to punch you in the face for you to want to fire me. Now I have error. I have room for fuck up. Because I do so sick at the job that if I fuck up once, you're like, fuck it, whatever. He kills it most of the time. We need him. If the person not saying we need him, then you're not doing enough.
Disposable.
Yeah.
At that point. So you're doing that. You said you worked there for 6 years.
6 years, bro.
And if it wasn't for the time you spent inside, it wouldn't have even humbled you to a point where you're doing that structured.
I wouldn't have to.
Yeah, there would be no reason.
But the CSC, the Corrections Service Canada, said you need to get a fucking job. And I got a job, and I was like, holy shit, I'm really good at this. You know what I'm saying? I know how to assimilate, and I know how to speak. And I could be like, yo, man them, but then I could
Did that kind of unlock your potential in your brain?
I already knew how to do that.
Yeah. But did you, doing that job at the high level that you were doing and seeing people work under you, did it give you a different kind of like ceiling? Like if I'm doing this shit, like the fuck, I'm doing this for somebody else. Imagine what I could do for myself if I applied the same fucking work ethic and ability to speak to people and implement systems. If I did this myself, which is what you're doing right now.
What I'm doing now.
In a different form. I wanted to touch, it's amazing. I wanted to touch a little bit, you said that 09 stint is what stopped you from drinking. I have a little bit of experience not on that side of things. Like I said, I've had jobs. One of my jobs that I used to do, I used to work in a shelter that was only for people who were suffering with alcoholism, right? So I've had that kind of experience. I'd had to they threw me in there. I don't know how I even ended up in this place, but they threw me in there. I was running meetings and shit. Right. So I used to take the fucking book, open it up, do the fucking meetings, serenity prayer, all that shit. So I have some experience just with understanding kind of it opened my eyes up to that story. Because I have stories that involve addiction close to my family, but I never got to see that kind of opened up a different side and made me look at that person different, because I really got to understand the science behind it and had to do training and all that kind of shit. So was it just the ability? What stopped you? What about that stint, besides not having access all the time to liquor? What about that stopped you? And what's your what's the way that you maintain your sobriety now?
Well, what stopped me is the fact of how I got there in the first place, right? It's a well-documented story with the fire that happened in my house, and I fell asleep, and they found a fucking burner in my crib.
Because you were just drunk, sloppy.
I was just sloppy drunk.
Okay.
And none of that shit would have happened if I wasn't on the downward spiral and I was so fucking smashed. Yeah. So that was my wake-up call. Okay. Right? And now I have to do time because of this. I'm not coming home. I was like, I'm done. Right? And my mind literally turned the corner at that point, where I don't know, and this is not for everybody. Like the cravings didn't come.
They just stopped.
It was just like, yo, no, I'm not doing this no more, man. I can't do this no more. This is not for me. And then, you know, it also helped when I started going into the AA meetings and different things like that. Like, you know, when they're, you know, hearing other people's stories and stuff like that. But then I started realizing that, you know, because everybody's story is different.
There's some powerful shit in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But everybody's story is different. But I realized what's different a lot with my story is that I'm not in a situation where I'm like, people, places, and things. Oh, don't go to this place, or don't deal with these people.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker could drink around me all fucking day. I could be smashing a chick who has bare Henny on her breath.
Yeah, but you don't.
I'm not like, oh, I want to fucking drink some Henny now because like her lips taste like fucking Hennessy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just like, soft, drink as much. Yo, please drink as much as you want. Right? I'm hosting at jams. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm telling people it's last call just now.
Yeah.
Right? So that right there, I started realizing like it just wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying?
Did you feel like you still had to? Do you still to this day continue to do the AA stuff, or do you feel like you've got to a point that
I haven't been in AA meetings like that too tough like for the last like let's say 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, I was like every day, sometimes twice a day.
But you found it beneficial when you first.
Yeah. But then I started feeling like
because people have like there's like a. That's controversial in itself too. There's people who have different views on AA. People that are so fucking anti. Then there's people that will swear by it day and night. Even when I was working in those places, there were people that were like, "Fuck this shit, it's not for me." And then people like, "Are you crazy?" Like the people who were working there were people who were kind of been to the situation themselves. So they were like, "No, you have to. It's the only way."
That's the
I kind of
problem,
found.
though.
I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I can't really speak on it. I'm not.
That's the problem, though. What you're saying,
those people
because those people who make it like, "Yo, this is the only way you can do it," it discourages the people. There are some like myself who are like, yo, like fam, take it easy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to come get the help, but don't force the help on me.
And I feel like the religious aspect of it too. That's one of the things that turns I saw in that aspect, because like, you need to have a connection to God. And some people are like, I like the program and shit, but that's not my belief.
I'm agnostic. I'm
atheist, and then they'll be like, they kind of look at you like I saw how people were kind of treating them like, nah, man, you gotta get there. And some people are like, yo, I don't think I am gonna like. I have my own belief system and I don't know. I feel like it's just it's a really helpful thing for a lot of people. I'm not speaking down on it. It works for a lot of people. But I feel like there is, I guess, with any kind of like institution or group setting or culture, there's gonna be things that kind of didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and you know that could also that varies from meeting to meeting.
Yeah, place to place. Who's running it? I feel like I guess that's a good point. Probably now in these times, there's probably some modern fucking.
No, it's just like some groups are really so super tizic and gung ho, and then some groups are a little bit more relaxed. You know what I mean? It depends on what, because like the AA community, like you join a group, and then that becomes your home group, right? So if you want to find a good home group, you got to be like, let me just feel it around, go to different places, and who are the people who are in here that are like most likely.
It's kind of like finding a good therapist type of shit.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna fucking.
And it's harder for us black people and stuff like that too, because you go into those places and there's not enough of us.
No.
Because a lot of us don't address that.
And don't believe in that.
Yeah. We're not like, yo, I'm an alcoholic. Nah, fam, just put down the Henny, brethren.
I feel like the only time I see people in it is when it's court appointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you'll see the niggas in there, but you know in the meeting, they'll be like, so you want to share? I'll just be like, nah. Like I'm not saying nothing. I'm just here because I have to be there. Like I rarely saw people that were there openly and sharing and shit.
Well, I'm one of the people who actually
you actually use it voluntarily.
Yeah, because like they were like, yo, you can do AA and it will help, but you don't have to, because they can't appoint. AA is not associated with any sex or whatever, right? So they can't appoint you to be in AA.
There's more people doing it to like help their case.
Yeah, they can put you on rehab.
Yeah, look, Your Honor, I'm attending this. Like, if you're drunk driving and shit, like, you know, it's kind of those situations.
So that's how it kind of started with me.
Yeah.
And then I started liking it, and then I stayed with it. You know what I'm saying? So now I still fuck with it. If I have to, every once in a while, if I have the time, I might pop up on a meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
so I wanted to ask, what do you do now? Is there any practices that you do now to keep your sobriety in place? Is there something specific you do that's outside of AA, or is it at this point you just go day to day with your normal life?
I live like they say, one day at a time. But I don't, like, alcohol doesn't go through my brain. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't have the cravings. So I'm blessed because a lot of people are fighting the cravings, and they're doing whatever different type of mechanisms or whatever types of like things they have to do to fight the cravings daily.
Because they're consistent.
Yeah.
They're still having the dreams and all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what I
like,
hear a lot.
oh, I can't see all these people drinking because like, yo, I'm gonna want like if that, God forbid that ever starts happening, then now I have to fight something.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh man, here we go.
It's a different battle. You gotta use different techniques. Type shit.
But for the time that I've been sober, I've never had that battle like, yo, I want to drink. There's been times before I got sober when I was trying to get sober and I still wanted to drink. So it wasn't gonna work. But when I decided, yo, I don't want to do this shit anymore, I think it's just the way my brain works. It just cuts out and then it's gone.
You're one of the lucky people. Some people it's that simple for, some people it's not.
Yeah.
Before we end this shit, I just want to ask, first I want to say that like, I think I touched about this a little bit when you were interviewing us, but it's the fact that yourself, you and Herc, the platform that you guys provided for these kids now, I feel is so fucking important, because a lot of the times the music was there, but people wanted to know, who are these people? Like, who are you really? When you sit down in a room, what's your personality, right? I don't think people, I think people downplay the importance of interviews, because I know myself, my whole view of an artist can completely sway based off one interview. I can never listen to his music again based on some shit he said in the interviews, or I could become a super fucking fan based on an interview. So I feel like that's one of the things that the Toronto scene was missing. I feel like you guys came in at a time that was so fucking necessary, that there was no real coverage of, especially a lot of these street guys that are doing their thing on the music scene. So I just want to tip my hat off for you guys for doing that shit. So I just wanted to say, what do you say to the kid right now who consistently watches We Love Hip Hop, follows all the rappers that are on the show, follows your guys' journey, trying to figure out his rap career, might not be at the point yet where he's worthy of an interview? What's the best advice you can give to an underground rapper to take his shit to the point where you're reaching out to them, or they can get an interview themselves?
Make yourself known. It's not good enough just to have a hot tune. Because when you say, yo, my tune's hot, you're saying that because you feel that it's hot. Your people around you who might have heard it in the studio or whatever will say, yo, it's hot. But you have to let people know that it's hot, and that's where your promotion comes in. So my advice to artists is get somebody who's business savvy, get somebody who wants to put in that work on Instagram or whatever, if you don't want to do it yourself. If you feel like it's going to take away from your artistry because you're putting too much into the business side, then get a couple of your brethren who are like, yo, I'll do that Instagram shit for you all day, I'll fucking find out different ways of pushing your music, and make yourself hot. Because we're only able to pick up an artist who make themselves known.
They have to get on your radar somehow.
The internet has thousands of places that you can go, and Instagram has, and the Toronto scene has hundreds and thousands of artists who are always like, yo, I'm a new rapper. So for us to be able to just find you because your music is hot is just fucking ridiculous.
And people might not necessarily want to hear from you yet, because it's like, who the fuck are you right now?
Exactly. Yeah, your tune's hot, but like only 20 people have listened to it.
And what the fuck we're really gonna talk about? That's another thing.
Yeah.
What do you do, building onto that question, what do you do with a kid whose song is really hot, or who has a buzz, but A, might not have an interesting enough fucking story to have a crazy fucking podcast, or what do you do with the people that come there who are not talkers? Like, what do you do with the kid that answers the question like, yeah, What do you do with those interviews?
I work through it, man. I fucking work through it, man. I just keep trying to create conversation, man.
Do you run into that problem a lot?
Not really, but it happens every once in a while, and I just go use my people skills. Like, I'm like, okay, you're not really much of a talker. I'm gonna find something to make you laugh and find something to make you like open up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might not stick to the page. I might just go off and be like, boom, what about one of these? What about one of these?
Yeah.
And then once you open up a little bit, like sometimes it might happen like 15 minutes, 20 minutes into the interview.
Warm up to you and kind of see, all right, this nigga's all right.
Yeah, and then the rest of the 20 minutes are just flowing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I'll get some of the older cats, and I mean, in all respect to them, but you don't even have to ask no questions.
They've been waiting to tell their story. Let me tell you.
How you doing today?
Well,
boom, and then I remember the time.
1996. That's what I feel. I feel like the older fucking like the older generation, especially in Toronto, I feel like they haven't been getting that coverage. So a platform like yours is like, nigga, do you know how much shit I have to say?
Yeah.
Like, you know what shit I witnessed in the last 20 years that no one's ever asked me to talk about?
Yeah.
And I have to kind of just bring up to random people if I want to get it off my chest. So
Like
it's
our Cardinal interview was an hour and a half.
I watched it.
And we didn't even scratch the surface. Bro.
I watched it.
Respect.
I watched it. You can tell that nigga there had so much shit that he had nowhere really to go talk about it.
Yeah.
You could tell like he had the stories. Cardinal's been through fucking this whole hip hop scene from almost to inception in Canada, especially.
Yeah.
For people like that who I feel like that's in Canada. There hasn't been a place like there's been radio back and forth hip hop. They said fuck hip hop. Now they're coming back to hip hop. There's been stations that have done that. But I still feel like we're at the beginning stages of coverage.
Definitely.
Of the coverage of our art. And I feel like we still need more personalities to be covering this shit.
Yeah.
There still needs to be more people who are like, and there's people who are covering it that are fans of the culture, but not necessarily of the culture.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the difference. When you're of the culture and you really like, this is like, I tell people all the time, I'm not really a sports guy. Hip hop is my sports. I watch interviews and coverage and music the same way people watch football and basketball.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I see shit. So when I meet someone who has that same kind of coverage, that same interest as me, it's always going to be an interesting conversation. I can't get into the sports talk. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's people that hip hop is their interest like that, need to pick up a fucking camera, go fucking start their own shit, because there's still space for people in this in the realm.
Yeah. I agree, man. Learn the craft, learn how to deal with the technical behind the scenes shit, and just start producing content and get that shit out there. Like there's so much space in the fucking scene for people to, especially our scene, for people to want to get more content.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So with that being said, this has been a good conversation, man.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, appreciate you. One of the first people I hit up when I first had the idea of trying to we're trying to grow Cash Feelings into something that's not just about pictures and clothing, but more about who our network of people like truly are.
Yeah.
Who we are too. That's one part of it. People don't necessarily get to see that much, but we want people to know who we are. The kind of conversations we're interested in having, and the people that we're interested in sitting down and talking to. So, once again,
I appreciate that, man, and I appreciate you guys, man. Like, you know what I mean? The drip. I'm rocking some Cash Feelings now. You know what I'm saying? I deal the, you know, Cash is on our show. We interview both of y'all together, and it's just I love to see what you guys are doing, man.
Appreciate
you know what I'm saying? You're actually really making a stamp out here. I've spoken to other people who I don't think know you guys personally, and be like, yeah, I know about Cash Feelings clothing and stuff like that. So when I start hearing that, then I know that you guys are doing the right thing, man. So keep it up, man.
It's humbling, but fam, once again,
yes.
Love is on the ones at Rich Noir.